You should be live.
Alright. Ahoy there, folks. R30hedron here, back with a backup run for Dead Cells. Any percent. I guess you could technically call it any percent New Game Plus, because us speedrunners, we go off of a 100% save file, because, well, actually even more so nowadays. The build's changed since the last time I've done a marathon for Dead Cells. Like, completely changed. And involves a semi-cheaty weapon that you only get when you beat the game, like, completely. So it's going to be interesting. Whenever you are ready for time, we go by in-game time for Dead Cells, so you can just count me down.
I'm ready here. Whatever.
All right,
We
three.
just we haven't. Yeah.
Oops, sorry. 3, 2, 1, go. I might still reset a few times until I can get the stats that I want, which is the case in this case. Dead Cells revolves around different stats that you might get. I'll roll with this. The build that we're rolling with has 5 brutality. It relies on brutality. So we will be going with a brutality build, and thankfully, the Corrupted Power, which is my left trigger skill, happens to have the Electrify enemies. So, Dead Cells is a roguelike, much like the other game that I speedran a few hours ago. And the goal is to get to the end and defeat the Hand of the King. So we have a pretty specific route that we're going to go through to get there. We're going to start here in the prisoner's quarters. Our goal is to collect these 2 stat scrolls, which will increase our brutality stat, and get to the exit as quickly as we can. We will now be heading over to the Promenade of the Condemned, where the only goal is to, again, get to the end of the sub-level biome, whatever it is actually called. My memory's slightly fuzzy. Now, I picked up from the fellow that jumped into the book bag there a mutation. Now, the mutations give you a nice little boost. This one in particular is the Velocity mutation, which is the one that the speedrun builds, no matter what difficulty you're running, is built around. Hey, Evian! Welcome! If you want to see someone that I can actually speedrun this game well, Evian is one of them. Looks like we have a couple of people that from the Dead Cells speedrunning community that are popping in to say hi. They are probably going to be better at explaining what's going on than I can, since it's 2 in the morning here. So, it was not a terrible promenade, though. So the goal for this is to keep our speed boost as much as we can. And to not let the elevator go without you. That's bad. You don't want that to happen. So the ramparts is going to be the first major point of RNG in the run. What we're going to be dealing with is a little bit of level generation where our exit, we're not going to know exactly where the exit is until we find or don't find a certain level generation hint. And as soon as I spot it, I will point it out. Let's see here. So ideally, you want to find that hint early on. Because an early hint means that you have a chance to find the exit early down underneath our feet here. But it looks like we're either going to be really unlucky with the hint, or we're going to have the exit at the end of the level. Which I think... that was the wrong stat I put it in. I missed hint. Yep, I missed hint pretty badly there. It's okay, we're ahead of schedule still, right? This was not what we were looking for. So that means the exit was over here? It's been a while since I've had this bad of luck in... yeah, that was rotten luck in the ramparts. And I didn't even pick up that last scroll there. Whoops. You can tell that it's been a long day. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and brush that off and keep going. This is why the estimate is quite a bit longer than what my PB is. Yeah, that ramparts was about the worst possible luck we could have had. But either way, we've spun to one. We have the, on the right trigger, or what is known as the syringe. You pump all of those extra cells you have nothing left to do with into that, and your damage goes up to a ridiculous amount, making pretty much every single boss at this point a complete cakewalk. So that is quite a bit of fun. It ends up making this run... I don't want to say trivial, because you still have a lot of RNG you have to deal with in the form of level generation. Ramparts, you don't usually spend that long. You also don't usually fall off that badly on there. Wow, I even failed on the backup strat. Note to self, don't speedrun when it's 2 in the morning. But we're here in the Stilt Village. The goal is to find the key. We want to get one key. Okay, come on. And we'll take this key off to our exit. And we're now going to move to the second major piece of RNG in the run, which is the clock tower. Considering my luck, I'm expecting this to go absolutely terribly. The clock tower, the main bit of RNG here is that we need to find a key. And this key will then take us to our exit. Now we have usually 4 towers. One of the towers has our exit, and it's honestly pretty easy to figure out where it's at. Good, kept the velocity. It's usually pretty simple to find where the exit is at, but it's a 1 in 3 chance of finding our exits. Or of finding the key first try. I'm going to try this path. And I think I ended up getting unlucky here, where this is going to end in a... Yeah, that ended in a shop. So we are 0 for 1. Let's hope the second tower here has our key. If I'm unlucky, it will have ended up being the first tower that we could have gone to. That's going to lead to exit. I can tell because, again, some level generation quirks. It'll either be behind a teleportation obelisk thingamadoodle, or if I'm unlucky, it'll be behind this, which is not. Alright, so we're 0 for 2 for the towers. This is what you kind of expect when you do speedruns for roguelike games, as sad as it is. Sometimes you get really lucky. Sometimes you end up getting some pretty rotten luck. But that's honestly the main reason why I like the two games that I speedrun, both being roguelikes, because you don't really ever know what you're going to get. You might get a lot of good luck, or you might not get a lot of good luck. But it keeps things interesting. You're not going to be dealing with as much... It's not so much rote repetition like you might see in other speedruns. You have to roll with what the game gives you. That said, this is still a pretty safe speedrun, all things considered. Although your luck might be pretty swingy, either one way or another. Especially with the any percent category. If you know what you're doing, the chances of actually dying are pretty darn slim, especially nowadays with the build that we have now, using this wonderful, wonderful syringe. This wonderfully overpowered syringe. So to put into perspective, with my PB, I'd be done now. And we still have one more final level to go here. High Peak Castle. It's by far the most complicated, though if I'm lucky... Yep, okay, so we are on the wrong side, so we can pass through and should be able to be on the correct side. High Peak Castle is split up into two main branches, and then each branch will have a path into these sub-areas. We want to get 2 keys from these sub-areas. And from these sub-areas, we will then hopefully get the 2 keys that we need. Okay, so this is this is some bad level generation, though, because I'm going to have to do some backtracking, and I ended up going... Oh, and that's an extra long path as well, sadly, going to here. So I am going to need to go through here and head back this way. A lot of the time, especially for people doing casual playthroughs of the game, Castle is one of the tougher areas to fully parse what's going on, as sad as it is. But we should at least be through here. So with that, we've gotten ourselves through to our final boss. This game goes by quick. It's it goes by ridiculously quick, but here we've got the Hand of the King, who should also go by rather quick. Again, you spin and you win. Oh, I almost got a 2-cycle there. Dang, that would have been some good luck to end the run here. Time will end the moment that I toss my head into this fountain here. And that'll be time at 10:31 in-game time. Not great, but honestly, I'll take it. And it looks like RTA is about 14 minutes, 20 seconds. Yeah, that was still... This is by far, and just for courtesy's sake, I'll do what we do at the end of any percent run, and that is to just verify that we're not cheating. We use a custom mode to ensure that stuff is kosher. Yeah, this is honestly, the any percent category is a category that I think if you have been able to, if you can play Dead Cells and are at least familiar with the controls, this is a category that I think anyone is able to play. And if you want to join the Dead Cells speedrunning Discord, you are more than welcome to ask any of us on there for tips, advice, and how to go through the build. There is also 2 other categories. I have done a fresh file run for a marathon in the past, which turns up the RNG substantially because you don't get all of these fancy tools that you get in an 90% run. And then if you want some true craziness, there are a few of us that do the category where you play on the hardest difficulty of Dead Cells and beat the secret final boss that you get that fancy syringe from. There's only 2 people that do that category consistently nowadays, one of them being in chat here, Evian_FR, as well as Roxtomb is the other one that does that category. But that is all I've got. Thank you very much again for tossing me on here for a backup run. I'm going to go hit the hay, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the speedrun marathon as I drop my controller. Yeah, it's time for me to get some sleep. Don't know